Okay, welcome everybody to Vision Untethered, conversations with inspirational visionary leaders. Too often, business owners find themselves tethered to and held back by their businesses. The business, as a result, is essentially held back as well because it can't operate independently of the founder, stifling innovation, expansion, and long-term value growth and its sustainability. We authentically unpack the biggest learnings and insights in business and in life and identify the saboteurs that keep many visionary founders tied down. My name is Jill Simonds, founder and CEO of Savvy Strategic Partners. We are a full service dedicated leadership team, executing vision, increasing business value, and helping founder owners realize freedom. Today, my guest Jennifer McPherson joins us. She is the founder and CEO of Chickenango Marketing Solutions, a dynamic marketing agency specializing in the engineering, architecture, and construction industry. With deep expertise in the unique challenges and opportunities of this sector, and a strong focus on public involvement and communication, Chickenango effectively engages communities, navigates public outreach, and ensures successful stakeholder relations and community support. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining us today, Jen. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. And wow, you made me look so good.
You are, you are so good. And the amazing team behind the scenes as well.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, so good to have you. So, first and foremost, what is your purpose, cause, and passion? What started you on this journey, specifically in this industry, and to make the impact that you are in Chickenango?
Well, I am a late bloomer, so I didn't start Chickenango until I was 46 years old. Prior to that, I worked for 27 years in the AEC industry, particularly in engineering within engineering companies that focused on transportation infrastructure. So
Mhm.
my background has been in marketing these types of firms to clients to win very large scale transportation infrastructure projects.
Mhm.
After 27 years, I really wanted to work, start my own company. This has been the industry, obviously, that I know inside and out. It's a very niche industry.
Yeah.
And so I started Chickenango in 2018, May of 2018, and
Mhm.
basically started the company to focus on providing marketing services, so digital marketing, website design, branding, full branding for this specific niche, and providing public involvement on transportation infrastructure projects for DOTs and local
Mhm.
agencies. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's where we
Fun
land.
adventure. Yes. Can you talk a little bit about niching and the success over the first initial years here of Chickenango with going deeper in niche as opposed to wider, right? When we say marketing solutions, there's branding, design, communication, just digital marketing in general.
Yes.
And that can be so broad. So, what can you say about that journey and the decision to go deeper rather than wider?
Well, I think that when I initially started the company, I was like, yeah, we could do anything. But the reality is, I mean, what is it? Jack of all trades,
Hmm.
master of none.
Master of none. Hmm.
Yeah. I decided probably a year in that I'm going to stick with my lane. I
Hmm.
have all the contacts, having worked 27 years. The industry itself is it's large, but it's small.
Right.
You
Hmm.
tend to know everyone in the industry. And I think just by niching, taking my niche and the thing that I know the most and really hyper focusing on it, not only am I able to provide a better product and service
Hmm.
for my
Hmm.
clients because it's very specific to a need that they have. And so that's kind of early
Yeah.
on, I realized that probably I was probably a year in,
Okay.
and I realized this is really the direction that we are going. We're a very targeted
Hmm.
company. So,
Yeah. Right.
mm,
Yeah. What would you say? What we often call, mistakes, but looking at those as learning opportunities, what would you say are some of the biggest learning opportunities since founding the company that you've had?
oh my gosh, there's so many,
Right.
because, I knew this one thing, right?
Hmm.
I knew marketing for engineering companies, for architect, construction companies. I knew that industry
Hmm.
in and out. So I'm like, oh, well, I should just start my own company because I can
Yeah.
do this one thing. But then you start your own company and you can do the thing.
Yeah.
But the reality is you have to also run a business doing your thing. And that
Hmm.
part is really, really hard because what you don't know, you definitely don't know until you know. And then you're like, oh, shoot, what am I supposed to do now? And I would
Hmm.
say one of the first things like was when I had to hire my first employee. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, how do I do that? What do I do? What's the rules behind that? Like what
Yeah.
you just don't know.
Hmm.
Now we could do that all day long, but the
Yeah.
first employee was like the first thing. And then,
Hmm.
just understanding the bigger business component has been, it's difficult unless you understand how to operate the business that you created to start the one thing. So there's been a
Hmm.
lot of learnings along the way, a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
a lot of fails and pick
Fail
myself
forward.
and fail forward. Yes. Yeah. A lot of those.
Yeah.
I always
You're,
say if you start a business, if
hmm.
you like adventure, but also if you like continuously being punched in the face or being knocked down and just
Yep.
love the opportunity to come back from that and get back
Hmm.
over and over again. So
Right. Yeah. Maybe even not so much like it, but you love the feeling of when you can get back up and move forward, right?
yes.
Because
Yeah,
if anything,
right.
like you have a way, I think, of motivating the world around you. I see you just your content and just being able to work alongside you and how resiliency is developing with every step of the process in our journey
Yes.
together. You you speak and preach. It's not about how we fall, it's how we get up.
Oh yeah.
And you
100%.
live that both in
Yeah.
your personal life and things you've gone through
Yeah.
in life and in business. So you
Yeah.
don't, I mean, it's kind of like a gravitational pull into the pain, but it's because of the resiliency you've been able to develop in
Yeah.
that and the feeling and the knowledge that you can overcome it and you can
Yes.
lead by example that as an entire team, we can overcome the challenges in front of us and the obstacle is always going to be there.
Oh yeah.
So you do a great job at that.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah. As far as what would you say to architectural firms, uh, engineering firms, agencies, and entities that you serve, those that are unsure about why they would work with Chickenango specifically? Can you talk about what differentiates you or the services that Chickenango can provide in those sectors of the industry
Yeah.
that set Chickenango above and beyond probably
Yeah.
what they're traditionally used to in the
Yeah.
world of public information?
Basically, I've drilled it down, and I've talked to clients about this, just to for us to be able to have a better understanding of
Hmm.
why do you choose us. And basically this market is very niche. The transportation is, I mean, that's a broad term, and there's a lot of things that fall within that, but there's
Hmm.
a lot of, especially in communications, there's a lot of messaging that you have to one, you have to understand the technical side of the industry.
Hmm.
Then you have to be able to take that technical side and translate it into content that the people that are not engineers or not architects or not in the construction field can understand easily.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that's why we have been very successful, is because many of us at Chickenango have come from inside of that industry and are able to speak the lingo from the
Yep.
engineering side all the
Okay.
way to the public facing side. And so,
Yeah.
and the other, I mean, we starting the company was, I knew how to do the thing, but there was a missing component. And I
Hmm.
felt like that missing component was there was a complacency inside of the field on the public involvement side. It was
Yeah.
almost like, we're just like, yeah, we're supposed to be doing this one piece of public involvement, but it felt more like checking a box. And I
Yeah.
do not way. I feel passionate about being public communications. At the end of the day, most of our projects are paid for by us,
Hmm.
but they're
Right.
paid for by tax dollars. And people want to know what these projects are. What are the projects? What is this project? How is this going to affect me in my life? And being able to reach a broader range of people, making sure that reaching
Hmm.
people who may historically not have been reached in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I think that we really um,
Hmm.
work hard to make sure that everyone is included in the conversation. And
Yeah.
I think it's evident in on the projects that we work on.
Hmm. Absolutely. And just what you said in terms of what they're traditionally kind of the approach where there were so many missing gaps
Mm-hmm.
and going through the motions in terms of what needs to be communicated, what the public needs to know about a specific transportation project or something that could be of large impact in an area,
Yeah.
that you're 10 steps ahead, several steps ahead with what
Yeah.
needs to be communicated. And the level and quality is a notch above
Yeah.
what, that industry and that sector is accustomed
Mm-hmm.
to serving
Yeah.
and delivering.
Yeah.
Um, so I can definitely see that in the work, especially all the way down to the fact that we have a graphic designer for,
Yes.
uh, for putting communication and visualization to what
Yes.
the public needs to know about large
Mm-hmm.
and widespread spread projects in a way
Yeah.
that's like, oh, you're not just getting a little memo that says, hey, FYI, there's a
Yeah.
map, there's design, there's elements that help the community and the public that's impacted by it
Yeah.
visually understand what's happening
Oh,
in a
yeah.
way that just simplifies for them.
Yes.
You're already 10 steps
Definitely.
ahead of the questions that you're probably going to be getting from the community
Yeah.
that bombard, from a service standpoint, phone calls and outreach and
Yeah.
disgruntled community members that
Oh,
need
yeah.
answers.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're absolutely right. I mean, we do. We try to be, even at the very start of every project,
mhm,
we do create questions that we
yeah.
think community members would have so that we have already a
Mhm,
frequently asked question
yeah.
go by that we can, and then
Mhm,
continuously adding to that. These
right.
questions keep coming up, and, how
Yeah.
are we going to address these questions and um,
Mhm,
make sure that, everyone understands the project
yep.
and everyone understands. So, yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. It's
Yeah.
amazing that you do that. And yeah, it's it's disruptive. It's different
Hmm.
in a community, or sorry, in an industry where it's been done the same way for decades and decades and decades. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are some signs that you're overly tethered to the business and you're the bottleneck for the business? What are some signs for you? Probably common signs that a lot of visionaries come to find about
Yeah.
themselves too.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah,
I, I guess probably over the last 6, 7 months, I've really recognized that I have been, and I think this is a common evolution of a business, right? You
yeah,
start, you're one. You get more people, you're five. You're still in charge of everything. Everyone comes to you for this, that, and the other thing. Then you grow
yeah.
larger. We're like 12. And now I'm like, there are so many things that are hitting me on a daily basis that I can't respond even to half of them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what this last 6 months have really taught me that yeah,
Yeah.
I've got to step, I need to get out of the way because I'm preventing people from being able to go forward by always having to come to me for things,
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say it's just one thing. It's probably more the evolution. And now it's like I can't even get out of my own way because I'm so stuck in everyone
Yeah.
else's way. So
Yep.
that doesn't really make sense, but in my head it does. It's
It
just,
does.
yeah.
Yeah. There is that evolution for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
how, yeah, how are you approaching that? What's kind of step by step at this point from gradually releasing yourself from feeling held back by the business or holding the business back from, these awesome team members
Well, I mean, I'm
taking
working
it and
with
running
you,
with it?
number one.
Yeah.
Um, just hiring a
Hmm.
fractional COO for us because, we're not ready. We're not big enough for the full-time
Hmm.
role, but hiring that fractional COO to help me, who, as a visionary,
Hmm.
I'm very way up here in the clouds.
Hmm.
I have lots of things happening all at one time inside of
Hmm.
my head, lots of ideas of things I want to do. It's really difficult, very difficult for me to take a funnel of all this stuff up here and funnel it down into execution. And
Hmm.
um, once I really recognize that if I want to grow Chickenango, I really do need to get the right people in the right seats so that,
Hmm.
I tried to implement the EOS system by myself. But
Mm.
I will tell you, as a visionary, I think that's impossible. I mean,
Hmm.
with my brain, there's no way I could do it. I'm just too distracted. And so I think hiring the first was hiring the fractional COO for my company
Hmm.
who could help to take all of this mess up here, and it's almost like those scrambled word puzzles where you have to unscramble the words. So I
Yeah.
feel like you are helping me to unscramble all the words so that we can
Love
fit
that.
it down into the funnel that will
Hmm.
then create, the whole accountability of my
Yeah.
team and where everyone sits and
Hmm.
what's our direction. So
Yeah.
long answer, but
People. Yeah, the right people.
yeah,
And sometimes that's
right
multiple people, and
people.
sometimes it's the next right thing, the next right need in the company.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and allowing that individual to take what you've had to hold on to and try to execute on your own and
Hmm.
move out of the way. in order for you
Yes.
to be in your zone of genius,
Hmm.
because that your company needs you. Your company needs the vision, needs the visionary.
Hmm.
So it's so vital. And the more bogged down you are in roles that aren't in that core genius for you, the less the company has a visionary
Yeah.
and can grow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What are some common saboteurs for you that prevent you or have prevented you in the past from being able to let go? And how can you identify them and manage, the saboteurs when we self-sabotage and get pulled back in? What are some ways that you identify and overcome those?
I would say, I mean, I'm not a control freak. I don't control. I don't like to control everything. I'm probably quite the opposite, where I
Mm-hmm.
trust probably way more than I should. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I am a I'm a helper. I'm a mom of five kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes across, I think, in my company because I don't I love that people learn, but also as a mom, yes, you want your kids to learn, but it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
not step in and say, "Oh, let me help you." So
Right.
being able to let go of that
Mm-hmm.
part of me, which is like
Yeah.
is just like a part of who I am, has probably been very difficult, because
Mm-hmm.
I do want to rescue and save everyone,
Yeah.
and so I think that's really hard as a
Yeah.
business owner as for me, because
Mm-hmm.
as a business owner, you do need to let people do the thing,
And solve their problem
solve the
and
problem, make a
mm-hmm.
mistake, work through
Yeah.
the mistake,
Mm-hmm.
learn from it, just like I'm learning from this on
Right.
the whole business side.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing for
Mm-hmm.
me to do.
Yeah. I could see that because in all pure intentions of who you are too, just wanting to help and help first, almost to a fault,
Yeah.
right? Of that servant leadership.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we see that in servant leaders where it's like, oh, I'll just do it. I'll just, but we need to teach people how to fish, teach them how to,
Yes.
you know, um, so it's sometimes maybe a badge that we wear is like, I'm super helpful, I'm willing to do anything, and
Yeah.
everybody, there's a likability and a relational aspect of that that's
Hmm.
positive. But to a fault sometimes. All of our
Yeah.
strengths, I think, can definitely, if we lean into them too much,
Hmm.
they end up they can end up being harmful.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is
I
a good
think
self-saboteur. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I love that. That resonates for sure. I'm like, I see that as you just so
Yeah.
caring, above and beyond. And sometimes to the point where it's like, it's okay. They can figure it out. Let them
Yeah.
figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. You don't have to have all the answers or fix everybody's issues, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So being newer to EOS, what would you say about and recommend in terms of the ability to systematize and create processes for a business owner to be able to operate, in their core genius as a visionary and the business to operate independently without